Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. We got more of the same today, guys. Bitcoin not really moving too much, $26,800 per coin. Again, this is the point in the crypto cycle where it's probably going to be the most boring. And, in terms of 2019, I've talked about this on the channel in the past. Going through this point here after that initial phase of euphoria for cryptocurrency was the dumps. And then, obviously, the beer flu Black Swan event was, something that none of us really anticipated, and that was even worse actually than this. But hopefully we don't see a Black Swan event this time around. An accumulation phase, though, is what we're witnessing today. So Bitcoin trading at 26,800. We've got XRP and other altcoins trading lower. XRP trading at 47.487, still maintaining support, though, over that trend line. And the crypto market as a whole sitting fairly flat, fairly stable. Market cap is at 1.05 trillion. We've got the 24-hour volume, 13.96 billion. That's down about 43%. And Bitcoin dominance still holding on roughly around 49-50%, give or take. Fear and greed index hasn't really been moving. 24-hour price fluctuations aren't really moving either. We're seeing a little bit of green, a little bit of red. So some cryptos are, moving higher, some are moving lower. A fairly quiet market when we look at the entire picture here, guys. I'm going to bring up the total market cap on the daily. And as you guys can see here, let's take a look for a second at the volume and, just comparing the volume from the top of the bull run back in 2021 and take a look at these large volume bars and compare that to the tapering off, okay, ever since roughly, except for this anomaly over here. Basically, look at the tapering off of the volume. You guys are looking down here, how that's slanting downward into 2023. So not a lot of trading actually going on. And we've seen, that declining volume for quite a while now, almost 2 years. So yes, although we did see some price appreciation at the beginning of 2023, overall, there's not a lot of activity, not a lot of trading going on at this particular point in time. This is the time where we're deal hunting, guys, looking for those altcoins that hit that sweet spot. I'm opening up my portfolio at patreon.com/workingmoneychannel. And if you guys are interested, you can see what I'm trading. And I'm only charging $5 a month. I wanted to keep it relatively affordable so you guys can follow me all the way through, see where my selling targets are going to be down the road. And I'm eyeing a few cryptos here right now. I'm just going to take a look at my paper here. I jotted some down here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, but 3 out of the 5 here I think I'm going to go for. So if that's something you're interested in, you can follow me, patreon.com/workingmoneychannel, to see what I'm trading, my crypto portfolio. And guys, hopefully we can rock this market together, getting on the same side of the trade. Remember, we do not want to be the exit liquidity. Man-child SBF's defense is struggling in a fast-moving trial, says former assistant U.S. attorney. Guys, the latest on the Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX trial, the prosecution's strong collection of witnesses who have cooperated and admitted guilt to authorities are making it difficult for Sam Bankman-Fried's defense team during cross-examination. So a lot of people apparently are turning on him. One example is Caroline Ellison. I think, where did it say? Yeah, down here. So far, no witness has been more damning than Ellison, who has painted Bankman-Fried as being, for the most part, fully aware that he was crossing both ethical and legal lines, according to O'Brien, somebody involved in the case. She's been candid about her own guilt. So she's admitting guilt, obviously probably looking for a plea bargain. But this is the case, guys, for Sam Bankman-Fried. Every defense lawyer looks for a toehold in reasonable doubt, just something they can argue to the jury. And it's very hard to see that that's going to materialize here, said former assistant U.S. attorney. So Sam Bankman-Fried's defense team has their work cut out for them. It looks as though. I'm not going to read you guys all the details, but if you're interested in the SBF FTX case, I will link this article in the description of the video for you. In other news, guys, it's a pretty light news day today. It is a Sunday. It is the weekend, but we did get news that MetaMask appears to have been removed from the Apple Store. To be honest with you, I've never really liked MetaMask. I'm going to be candid. But they apparently disappeared from the Apple Store. Crypto wallet MetaMask's mobile app appears to have been removed from the Apple App Store. The app no longer appears in the App Store, and direct links to the app, such as the one on MetaMask's download page, no longer work. So what happened there? We expect MetaMask to be up on the App Store shortly, and we sincerely apologize for any inconvenience this may have caused. This is what MetaMask said on the X platform. We're working on figuring out what happened and resolving the issue ASAP. said the lead product manager there. This issue exclusively impacts those trying to install the app fresh from the Apple Store, and we will be resolving the issue very shortly. These apps that hold your crypto, I personally like something physical, something you have to press to sign transactions. This is why I use the Ledger Nano, for example. And, for those of you guys who are looking for a cold wallet storage solution, I do have an affiliate link in the description of every video I do for the Ledger Nano. You can use it if you want. You don't have to use it. I do urge you guys, because, stuff like this can happen all the time. We're moving closer and closer to companies starting to custody cryptocurrencies. Big banks, that Ripple acquisition with Medico, for example. This is going to be the way of the future. This is where institutions are going to custody crypto. But in the meantime, a lot of these exchanges could, in fact, be vulnerable, even if you think you can trust them. So, to keep your crypto safe on a cold wallet storage solution like a Ledger Nano or something similar, again, it doesn't have to be the Ledger Nano, but I do have the affiliate link in the description of this video because that's what I use and that's what I stand by, and they've been really good to me. So you can use it if you want. You don't have to use it. I do urge you guys, though, this bull run is going to take off at some point, probably starting in 2024. And so, your crypto portfolio that's worth $10,000 now or $5,000 or whatever it is going to be worth more, whether that's $20,000, $50,000, $100,000, $1 million, whatever it ends up being. And so are you going to take that risk? Your hard-earned cash just kind of floating out there, susceptible to hacks? Get it into cold storage, guys, seriously, because we really never know. I mean, none of us really know what could happen to, any given exchange at any given time. Jungle Inc. posting this, guys. For those in California, Gavin Newsom has just come out signing a new crypto bill. He's one of the Democratic Party's most prominent promoters and defenders of blockchain and crypto tech. So would you vote for Newsom? Michael Branch giving us a little bit more of the story about Assembly Bill 39. Now, he has signed Assembly Bill 39, creating the Digital Financial Asset Act, a significant step towards establishing a regulatory framework for digital assets in the state. The law will come into effect on July 1st, 2025. Very interesting timing there. Probably near the height of the bull run at that particular point. So is that a coincidence? Probably not, and will give the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation powers to develop a robust regulatory framework. This will include licensing and enforcement authorities for certain cryptocurrency activities. The bill gives DFPI rulemaking authority and an 18-month implementation deadline. So this is what Gavin Newsom's doing in California. Eleanor Turret also just presenting us a copy of the bill here. I'm signing Assembly Bill 39, which establishes the Digital Financial Assets Law beginning July 1st, 2025. This bill requires the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation to create that robust regulatory framework, including licensing, enforcement, and other types of crypto activities. So it's an 18-month deadline. It should be thoughtfully tailored and address industry trends and mitigate consumer harm. You guys noticing a trend here? Something the SEC is also, trying to do kind of federally, at the federal level. I thank the author for the efforts to create a clear and comprehensive approach, blah, blah, blah. However, ambiguity of certain times in the scope of this bill will require further refinement in both the regulatory process and the statute to provide clarity to both customers, regulators, and business subjects to this new license framework. So I'm wondering if, Silicon Valley will in fact benefit from this bill, considering there has been a lack of regulatory clarity up till now. I don't know. I guess we'll have to stay tuned and find out. Anyway, wanted to thank Eleanor Turret, Michael Branch here, and Jungle Inc. just for posting that. Flip the Chain posting this. It's funny how, through litigation, we can learn new things. Even David Schwartz is learning about new partnerships building on the XRP ledger. He mentioned this at a recent conference. Listen to this.
It's funny how many projects I found out about because they filed briefs in our litigation with the SEC. That was the weirdest thing ever. I don't know if you guys remember when numerous participants in the XRP Ledger ecosystem filed briefs with the court saying, "Hey, we're using the SEC has said the XRP has no utility," and there were projects I'd never heard of. I'd never seen. It's like the least efficient way for me to find out about.
Yeah, no, that's interesting, actually.
The most inefficient way for David Schwartz to find out about partnerships, but alas, there are lots of people building, and guys, we're seeing that trajectory grow. Marcus Infanger here, VP of RippleX Growth, also highlights the increase in the number of projects on the XRP ledger recently. So I've got his LinkedIn up here. As you guys can see, he's been working with Ripple since 2019. He was first the senior director, then the global market institutions head, now VP of RippleX Growth. This clip, another one courtesy of Flip the Chain on Twitter. Listen to this.
Anything that you want to mention that we can look forward to with RippleX and what you're doing?
Yeah, so I just want to say, look, we're so excited. We've seen so much growth in the XRPL ecosystem more broadly. Just in the last 1.5 years alone or so, we had hundreds of projects that are starting to build. There's more than 1,000 projects now on XRPL, and you know, like in a period where there's actually been difficult to see more Web3 developers joining the ecosystem more broadly. And so we're just excited to see all the innovation that's coming, all the innovation that will come through.
So more innovation, guys, more developers, which will drive more demand to the XRP ledger. And I know we're not seeing price appreciation quite yet. We are still in that spec market, still trading in the Wild West. Again, good for us in terms of, relative predictability. When it comes to, trading Bitcoin, guys, remember this is a 4-year cycle. This is not brain surgery. We can pretty much, somewhat estimate when the top is going to be. We can assume we saw the bottom already 1 year after we initially saw the top in 2021. Guys, this is, repeating itself time and time again. So the spec market going to be very different, but utility is what's going to bring prices for those problem-solving coins really, really high eventually. And I mean, there are still critics. Even in 2020, David Schwartz explains that yes, their clients are in fact using XRP, but nothing at scale. Now, this was from 2020, so a bit of an older clip, and it was even before the lawsuit was announced. So, the lawsuit has set Ripple back a bit. I'm just going to play you guys this clip to give you a reference point to where we were in 2020. Listen to this.
I was just wanting to know what kind of scale the banks are currently using this to trade amongst each other, because I mean, if they're doing it on the existing, traditional crypto exchanges, wouldn't there be issues with liquidity pockets, right? Like for a bank to settle a couple $2 billion amongst each other, I just don't see how they could possibly get to that size without materially moving the market against each other.
So no one is settling on a digital asset at scale today. What's going on at scale today is the messaging part that's able to settle on a digital asset when the liquidity is there. What's happening on the digital exchanges right now is there are really only two participants. There's market makers and there's speculators, and that's part of what I think is making the market so unhealthy. The market makers are deathly afraid that speculators are going to see a price go up on one exchange and beat them by a millisecond and sort of make them take a loss and vice versa. What we're trying to do with XRapid is bring to these crypto exchanges market takers, people looking for liquidity who don't care what crypto prices are doing. The thesis is that if we do that, market makers will make more money because there won't be people trying to force them to take a buy when the price is dropping and vice versa. And they'll respond, if I see you making a lot of money, I'll make just a little bit less money and someone else will make less money still. So we think that bringing in like real demand for payments will bring the spreads down and bring the offer volumes up. XRapid will see if we're right about that. But you're absolutely right that there has to be more liquidity. The volatility problem is solved by the speed. The next question is, can we solve the liquidity problem? And I think as XRapid scales up, we'll see whether this just brings more liquidity, or in the negative scenario, do we just use up all the liquidity and then the market just dies? I don't think that'll happen. I think what market makers are looking for is people to take the liquidity that they provide. But we'll see very soon.
So as Ripple was saying back then, and as they're saying today, liquidity is the key, and this is why they've come out with new products, the line of credit for XRP, or the liquidity hub, I guess, more specifically. So banks were not using XRP at scale even in 2020. Fast forward to today, guys, and we're getting to that point. I mean, Gavin Newsom is just signed this bill, so there needs to be that regulatory framework in place by 2025. Coinciding with the market high is what we're, assuming is going to happen. So all these possibilities, I think we could see real world utility really kind of coincide with the, euphoria phase of the market, and that could help catapult the market even higher. I mean, it's going to be a different spec market this time around, maybe a bit of a combination between a spec market and a real world utility market. I mean, who knows? So much is coming down the pike right now, and this is why I have switched up my strategy, and I want to share what I'm going to be doing with you guys. So also we have to remember this was before the lawsuit. So Ripple has been pushed back a little bit. This is over 3 years ago. So, I think Ripple's getting back on their feet. It's been 3 months since the SEC verdict. XRP is not a security. And so now we are seeing more institutions, more financial institutions, banks, all kinds of organizations that want to operate within the framework of the law. They are accepting XRP, like, for example, here, guys. This one from Ian Binns: XRP replaces USDC in the HKVAC cryptocurrency Global Large 5 Index. So this is big, guys. Coming out of Hong Kong, XRP has replaced USDC to become the latest component of the HKVAC Cryptocurrency Global Large Top 5 Index. This is an index that tracks the top 5 largest crypto assets. So the inclusion of XRP is part of the rebalancing of the constituents that make up the index. This particular index is one of the many adjusted components. Notably, HKVAC said the changes will come into effect on October the 20th. So in 5 days, guys. Before the rebalancing, the digital currencies that made up the index included Bitcoin, Ethereum, Binance Coin, and two of the top stablecoins, USDT and USDC. With the rebalancing, the total number of constituents remain unchanged at 5, leaving USDT as the only stablecoin in the mix. So it's interesting that they decided to get rid of USDC and keep Tether. This index showcases an extensive spectrum of investable virtual assets. The 5 assets listed on the index made it on the list of defined criteria. These criteria include the coin's market cap, associated market liquidity, and suitability for investment. So, focusing on the liquidity too. Again, XRP has been one of the more liquid coins. Ripple has, made it their mission for it to be liquid. Again, they need it to be liquid for all the purposes, and projections that David Schwartz did, talk about back in 2020. It goes on to talk a little bit about the stablecoin's market cap pegged at $25.08 billion, whereas XRP's valuation is slightly higher at $25.68 billion. Notably, USDC takes up just 2.92% of the pie in the soon-to-change index. It remains unclear whether XRP's cut will be bigger, so we're going to keep an eye on that, guys. And if you want to take a look at the index, Sento Sumo Saba here on Twitter did post it right here. The Hong Kong Virtual Asset Consortium adds XRP replacing USDC to the cryptocurrency global large top 5 index. So she she has the screen grab there, but I wanted to show you guys the document here, okay? HKVAC today said that they were rebalancing. Changes, as I mentioned, are going to come into effect this Friday, October the 20th. So here's the detailed information, some of the cryptocurrencies that are being removed and some more being included, guys. Check this out. Even HBAR is being included in that index down here. HKAV Cryptocurrency Large Market Cap Index. Inclusions of coins like Mantle, Maker, and Quant. And then they're removing some down here. But guys, check this out. HKVAC Cryptocurrency Global Large Top 5. The inclusion of XRP and noting that it is replacing USDC. So a very interesting choice. I mean, it's interesting too that they would decide to replace a stablecoin with XRP. I mean, is it though? Is it weird? Considering the World Bank has stated that XRP and XLM would be considered stablecoins. Maybe this fund is just looking to the future, realizing, okay, perhaps we should diversify a little bit, adding one of those cryptocurrencies that is going to shoot up, stay at a high enough price, and then, maintain its stability at, I don't know, $50, $100, $150 before it really takes on a life of its own and, becomes one of those dominant cryptocurrencies that, moves a large portion of tokenized assets running the gamut in the trillions of dollars. So, it's going to be one step at a time, but here we are starting to see it materialize. And guys, without having to point out the pun, we are going to see a ripple effect sometime soon. This one from Not Financial Advice here on Twitter. All of these clips aired within the past week. Can you believe it?
And the conflict is having a ripple effect. Could have a ripple effect.
There's a huge ripple effect.
So the ripple effect.
Can you describe a little bit of the ripple effect?
What kind of just ripple effect?
Is there a broader ripple effect?
I love this kind of thing. I don't know, guys. Are we going to see a ripple effect? That's just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.
A potential ripple effect.
There is a ripple effect.
The ripple effect.
It has a ripple-on effect.
And the ripple effect through the economy.
But the ripple effect is very big.
What's the potential ripple effect?
The ripple effect.
There is a ripple effect.
The ripple effect
can affect not only you alive, but it can affect everyone around you.
A ripple effect.